Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Friday talk about everything you need to know to write, publish, and promote your best-selling book. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and I'm here with our two sisters writing and publishing superstar author, Joanie Lindenmeyer. We go live every Friday to provide you with everything you need to know to write, publish, and promote that amazing book that can touch people's lives all around the world. Welcome, Joanie.
Welcome to you too. It's good to see you. Hi,
You
everybody.
you too. You too. Oh, echo. Hold on. There we go. Technology is so hilarious. My screen was bright red when I first logged in, which was so bizarre. So if there's any technical glitches, please bear with us. But Joanie, I'm so happy to see you. We have another hot topic for everybody out there who's trying to write a book. Joanie, you want to tell what it is?
You betcha. It's do you choose trust or do you choose fear in writing your book, publishing it, everything? Is it trust or is it fear? Woohoo!
Well, I say trust, and you, as someone who wrote your book in 5 months while I was coaching you, you certainly trusted the process because as a retired physical education teacher and former Catholic nun, you had zero experience in writing a book. So talk
Correct.
about, huh?
Correct.
So can you talk about the trust? What does that feel like when you're embarking on an entirely new endeavor, not questioning whether you can do it or if you'll do it, knowing you will, and trusting?
Oh, my gollies. Well, I'm going to go back. You said you had a red screen. I think you're getting ready for Valentine's Day. I think that's
Yes,
a
I'll
little
take
omen
that.
there coming on for you. Yeah, yeah. And maybe that sort of symbolizes what I think about with trust. um, Trust to me is like you follow your heart, you trust your gut, you trust your IQ, and you trust your EQ, your intelligent quotient and your emotional quotient. And I know for me, when I embarked on this, one of the biggest things was I had to trust who my team was going to be, because there was no way I was going to do this by myself. And
Hmm.
thank goodness Dan led to Catherine, that led to you and to the beginning of our team. But that trust element was had to be way up there, because I
Hmm.
was not going to set myself up for failure. I did not want to look like a fool. I did not know what I was going to write, but it's like I had to trust. I had to
Hmm.
trust. And probably, Elizabeth, if you think about this, I'm really a trustworthy person, and I trust people. That's my general bent on life. I trust people. And so thank goodness I had that going for me. Now, if you're a writer or you're a person that is not very trusting of people, then that might reflect yourself. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, well, I think even if you trust people, trusting a process that you've never done before is about trusting yourself and
Mm-hmm.
trusting that you have the discipline, the commitment, the perseverance, the tenacity to keep going, and also
Wow.
trusting that circumstances will transpire to feel like the universe is conspiring to help you reach your goal. So, for example,
Okay.
Joni, you often share the story of how you questioned the resources to hire me as your book coach and to pay for publishing and promotions and all the expenses that you didn't even know were involved in publishing and
Right.
promoting. And then you had Carol's mobility van, you sold it,
Correct.
and it was the exact amount of money that you needed.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
that's an example of trust. And when serendipitous things like that occur, it only reinforces your trust that you're on the right path. Do you agree?
I agree. Totally. Totally. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. It's like you keep
Excellent.
saying yes to the next thing, because you don't always know what that next thing is going to be. And so you
Yes.
just keep saying yes. Yes,
Yes.
I can do that. I'll find a way. There's got to be a way. I
Hmm.
trust. I
Hmm.
trust. You're
Hmm.
right. Exactly.
I love that, Joni. So I had another example of that this week. A woman I've known for many years and she's wanted to write a book and she just put it off and procrastinated, wrote chunks here and there over the years. So finally we started working together. I'm her coach. We had our first session on Monday. She was very nervous that she could actually finish it this well. And after 2 hours, we outlined the book. We talked about the strategy. And after our session, first of all, she was elated. And secondly, she spent the next 2 hours writing 3,000 words for her book. And this from a state
Oh,
starting of
here we go.
complete, like almost panic about, can I really do this? So she trusted me as her
Uh-huh.
guide, which is what a book coach does.
Yeah,
She trusted
yeah.
me to provide the structure and the confidence to get her going and then that momentum. And that happened with Rosie too. Rosie Robles, your friend, who's
Yes.
now our author. She had, she'd been wanting to do this forever, wasn't sure how to proceed, trusted the process, trusted me, and oh my God, the floodgates just opened, and she's just about done writing her
Woohoo! Way
book.
to go,
Yeah,
Rosie.
yeah, it's amazing. It's mind-blowing. So, trust. That's huge.
And you bring that out of people so well, Elizabeth, because I remember, actually the writing part and typing and you would say, Joanie, just keep writing. I thought I was in the Nemo movie of just keep swimming, but it was just keep writing, just keep writing. And you trusted me and I trusted you, and that just seemed to work just
Mm-hmm.
fabulously,
Mm-hmm.
fabulously.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. But let's talk about the very real concept of fear.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
where did you feel any fear with your book?
Yes. But well, I always think of fear as false evidence appearing real.
Love
I was
that.
taught that years ago. False evidence appearing real, and I guess the trust for me was exposing and being vulnerable and putting the stuff in the book that was from my heart that I'd never really thought about putting in words and to the world. And so that was a trust issue. Like, how is this going to be received? And I remember you and I having a conversation, and I just have to think about the reader. Who's going to be reading this? Okay, I think of different people and faces would come to mind. And what would they want to hear? They would want to hear my absolute truth.
Mm,
No, um, it's just absolute truth. But there was a fear in that, and because I didn't know how they would really receive it, I could sort of think how they might receive it, but how would they receive it? And at that time, I was not out completely, and so for a lot of people, they had no clue about Carol and I being same-sex lovers. They knew that we were married, but they never really thought about it, and some didn't even know we were married. But that whole truth thing, I had to trust in our truth of who we were. And yeah, that was scary. There were times that, and it wasn't just the grief part that I cried during writing the book, but it was that fear of wondering, oh boy, am I going too over far? Am I too far into this?
mm-hmm,
And it's like I just had to trust that. I had
mm-hmm,
to trust that. And I
mm-hmm,
think it's been fruitful for so many people. And I'm so glad I put it all out there, all the cards
mm-hmm,
on the table,
mm-hmm,
every single card on the table.
mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome, Joni. So that's fear of exposure, telling your truth to the whole wide world and the consequences that you may face, which can, for
Yeah.
some people, be ostracization by communities or people who disagree with
Yes.
your lifestyle or philosophies. That's a very real fear
Yes.
that a
Yes.
lot of people have that can hold them back. My mother, her book, she talks about how her mother abused her. And so she waited till her mother died before she opened the can of worms about the truth about her mother that people didn't know. And so it wasn't so much fear, it was just sort of, um, I want to say respect.
Apprehension.
Hmm?
Oh, respect. Okay. I was going to say apprehension. I
Yeah,
think I had more
apprehension.
apprehension than I did fear. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
But your
yeah,
mom, your mom's story is incredible. And yeah, and same with you. You put a lot out there. You put the cards, excuse me, you put the cards on the table as well. And I,
yeah.
I don't know. woo, I'm very impressed with your mom and you for what you've done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, in my book, God's Answer is No, I shared some stories that I'd never shared with any human beings. And then I go put them in a book for the world to read about
Yeah.
my spiritual awakening experiences that I've had, as well as some of the challenges I've struggled with, like divorce, depression, other things. So, anyway,
Hmm.
Joni, your book, you usually have your banner behind you, but your book, None Better, is a bestseller. An Amazing Love Story, which you say you wrote with Carol Tierheimer, who is your beloved, who you spent 40 years with and who passed last year. And so your book is amazing. It's
It'll
so
be
cool.
2 years. It'll be 2 years, the January 30th coming
Oh,
up in a
wow.
few days.
Two
two
years.
years. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
Joanie.
I know. I know.
Wow.
Yep.
Remarkable. But what a tremendous tribute that your story lives forever and it's touching people literally around the world to
Hmm.
give voice
Hmm.
to LGBTQ plus love stories and
Hmm.
courage and trailblazing a lifestyle that you didn't have a template for.
Right. Right.
So
You know, and,
cool.
and now I can see that now that the book is out. Um, Thinking back to when I wrote it, I don't quite go into that world of that fear or the apprehension anymore because it's already done and there's other things to be grateful for. And do I have fears now in terms of what I do and where I go with the book? I am still just I'm out there, and whatever comes at me, and
Hmm.
I'm just having a blast with it. And I figure that Jesus has always got my back, is the way I look at it. So,
Always. I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
but
That's
that
beautiful.
fear, that apprehension, there are things that maybe that's human nature. Do you think
Hmm.
that's just human nature to have that kind of stuff just surface at times?
Oh, absolutely. So I want to offer some action steps for people who are trying
Oh,
to write a book but seem um, almost paralyzed by fear, which can manifest as writer's block, procrastination, overwhelm. So, a
mm-hmm.
few things to consider is to get quiet and still with yourself and
Yes,
do some journaling. Write the pros and cons. What exactly is your fear, and what are the pros of publishing your book? What are the cons? If the cons
good
are
idea.
you could reveal something about yourself and lose your job, lose your marriage, lose your family, whatever, that's something to consider.
Yeah, yeah.
But if the cons are just fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of not being a good enough writer, I hear that a lot.
Mm-hmm,
Fear of
mm-hmm,
being criticized, fear of exposing things about yourself. You have to
mm-hmm,
decide, why am I being called to write this book? A
mm-hmm.
calling to write a book is bigger than yourself. It's not
Yes,
about you. It's about all the lives you're going to touch with the book. And I believe it's our moral obligation. It's like a divine life assignment. If you get the call to write the book, you need to answer it because the rewards, as Joni is experiencing, are immeasurable. Yes, there's monetary reward, there's recognition, there's praise, but you can't measure things like an 85-year-old lady in a nursing home coming up to Joni and saying, I'm a lesbian, but I've never told anybody my whole life.
yeah,
You can't measure
yeah.
that. This lady
No, you
had the
can't.
courage to finally come out. 85 years old. I have chills.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that gave her the jolt of courage and confidence to finally tell her truth. And that's just a miracle.
Yes, totally, totally.
And then
Yes.
on the flip side, all the young people who are reading Joni's book, who might be teenagers or in their 20s and they're trans or bi or questioning what they are in terms of their identity, she's
Yeah,
giving voice to saying, you can be whoever you are and create a wonderful life like I did. Read this book and you'll see.
yeah. Yeah.
You
And the
can't,
number of people that I've brought a spirituality to, or opened up the world to be healed in a spiritual sense too. Oh my gosh, yeah. So many stories. And thank you to your sister. We've talked about having a 1 year anniversary, March 19th, for None Better. And so
oh,
I'm going to be speaking along with your sister at RVML in Ashland, Oregon, and we're going to be sharing these stories of the impacts, the powerful impacts that I've had happen because of None Better. It's like, oh my gosh,
Oh, Joanie, I hope they
yeah,
find a way to make that live on online streaming
oh, good
so
idea.
that people everywhere can listen or at least record it and post it after.
Right. Good idea. Good idea. But
Yes,
but
yes.
back to the writers you're talking about, when you're in the middle of writing it, you don't see what's going to happen 6 months or a year or 2 years down the road. You don't
Mm-mm.
know that. And there's
Mm-hmm.
that trust again, Elizabeth,
Mm-hmm.
that you
Mm-hmm.
have to trust that, like you just said, it's a calling. And I love it. You said, answer the call. It's like, pick up the phone. You got a text, pick up the phone
I
you know
love
and
that.
and and,
Yeah.
and, and your mind can't even boggle jumping ahead 6 months or a year, knowing what the impacts are going to be. And that's the trust because you've been there and done it. Your mom has been there and done that. Your sister has been there and done that. I've been there and done that, and we are
Mm-hmm.
doing it again. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody that is listening right now, that is going to happen to you too. Trust. Oh,
Yes, yes. And things you never could have anticipated. Like for me, the book parties with all the friends and family coming to celebrate the accomplishment have we're so happy. And then book clubs where you go meet a group
yes.
of people who've all read your book at a restaurant or their home and they've prepared a meal that might be out of the book. And it's just so amazing. And so in hindsight, of course, you can't fight your fear with things like that, but we're telling you now, there's delightful surprises that will occur when you find the courage to write that book. One question you can ask yourself is, what's on the other side of my fear? What's
Oh,
on the other side of my fear? And let me just tell you, it's a tremendous sense of accomplishment because many people want to write a book but never do. It is the ability to influence people everywhere. It's the ability to make more money with book sales and speaking engagements and all kinds of things that if you have a course, you can use the book in the course. There's ways to monetize your book in a big way. Um, the other side of it is this tremendous sense of confidence that I did that. I did
yes.
that. Yeah. And
Yes,
it
I have never
emboldens.
felt more confident in my life, and I know that's because of the writing and the None Better.
Wow, Joanie.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think about all my sports days, and I was pretty darn confident as a volleyball player,
Uh-huh.
and as a coach. But this one just tops it. This just totally tops it.
Wow, that's amazing, Joanie.
Yeah.
You always say something every week that's just a mic drop.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
awesome. Um, so overcoming fear, acknowledge it. It is a real issue with writing a book. It's
Hmm.
scary, especially the fear of failure. I'm not a good enough writer. There's already people who wrote on my topic. So what? No one wrote your book your way, so go
Yes.
for it.
See, look
Yeah.
at your attitude is unbelievable. I love it. I love it. Like, wowie.
I hear that from people a lot. They get really discouraged. And also, fear can be exacerbated by people who might be your frenemies or whatever the word for family members who are enemies.
Oh,
Um, Naysayers, people who say, who do you
yeah.
think you are? You're never going to succeed. Why are you wasting your time and money? Um, you're not a writer. Nobody wants to read your stuff. It's not good. Whatever. They will tell you that. It's haterade. Don't drink it
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because they're
Exactly.
jealous. They want to hold you back. They're scared for you, or they're, you know, you and I don't have people like that in our lives, but other people do. And
Yes.
and just don't tell them. Just show them. Hold up your book. Hey, I'm having a book party. Want to come? And they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't know you were writing a book." Well, I only told people
I
who
love it,
support me and
Elizabeth.
encourage me.
I love it. That is so great. That is so true. I do. I whip them out of my backpack all the time. See? Have you ever met an author before? Boom.
Oh,
You
I
know?
love it. I love it, Joni. That's awesome. So these are some things. If you'd like to contact Joni, she's on Facebook at Joanie Lindenmeyer. You can also contact me at twosisterswriting.com, our website. I would love to help you overcome the fear as your book coach and as your publisher because it's a very intimate, personalized experience. Long-term relationship develops, friendship, because we are with you for the life of your book, which is the rest of your life, and then whoever inherits the opportunity to manage your book after you're no longer here. And that does happen. So
Hmm. Hmm.
we'd love to talk with you, help you. If you have any questions, please drop a comment here. If you have any questions about future talks that you'd like us to explore, please, we'd love to hear from you. We're very grateful that you're watching. And Joanie, do you have any final words?
Yes, just one little thing. Trust your heart. Valentine's Day is coming up, and just trust your heart. You'll know the words. You'll know. You'll know. Just trust. Just
Oh,
trust.
oh, I love that so much, Joanie. Trust, trust,
Yeah.
trust. Trust is the antidote to fear.
Hmm.
Yes. All
Totally.
right.
Totally. How about your last words?
Um, I say go for it. I say work with a therapist if you're really incapacitated by fear, because
Oh,
it might be a symptom of a bigger issue that you need to resolve, and writing your book might help you do that.
oh,
Because when you
oh.
write a book, especially a memoir, it forces you to reflect back on your life, the good, the bad, the traumatic, the joyous, whatever. It's all there. And you can say, wow, I survived that. I'm still standing. Or, wow, there's all these things I still want to do in my life. I better get to it. And so it can be
Mhm.
very motivating and also very healing and therapeutic.
Yes.
So these are things you would never think that writing a book would do, but take it from me. When I wrote my book, I was like, wow, I've spent so much time wasted on these topics that are not worth the time and energy and angst. And therefore, I was able to identify that only in the course of writing the book. And I journaled about it. I forgave myself and I released all those things that no longer consume my brain and body energy.
Elizabeth, thank you for sharing that. I mean, that is so personal that you just shared that on this podcast. And it's like, man, you are so gutsy. You are so gutsy. Thank you. You know, a lot of times when we have conversations with people, it's just surface stuff, not
Yeah.
with you. I mean, it's like both of us are that way. Just, ooh, man. Ah,
Yes,
this
yes,
is
yes,
real.
yes.
This is real. Thank
Awesome.
you. I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Joni. Thank you. I love that we come on every Friday. So, everybody, stay tuned and check out all of the talks we've had for many months now here on the Two Sisters Writing and Publishing YouTube channel, where Joni and I go live every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern Time to talk about how to write, publish, and promote your best selling book that can touch lives all around the world. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins. This is Joanie Lindenmeyer, and we're so grateful that you joined us. So we will see you next week, and please share this with somebody, and we wish you happy writing.
And as usual, my ending, big hugs. Celebrate the day.
Big hugs to you, Joni, and thank you so
Thank you.
much.